Welcome back to Night Child Reviews, where scrambled eggs are boring mama. You're all I want to know. Now, today it does not get any easier. We are doing an album showdown between Around the World in a Day and Parade, the soundtrack to Under the Cherry Moon. And this is going to be a tough one, really is. Anyway, 5 reasons why Around the World in a Day should be the winner, and 5 reasons why Parade should come out on top. Let's go. Around the World in a Day. Reason number 1, the psychedelic trippiness of the album. This was a real departure for Prince. He said it would be very easy to start Around the World in a Day using like Let's Go Crazy but in a different key. It would be so easy to do that, but he wanted to make an artistic statement. He wanted it to be different from Purple Rain. And he said in an interview that he had a kind of FU attitude, that he didn't care what people thought. This was for him. He was going to do things differently. Indeed, in fact, he originally didn't come up with any singles. He just said, here's the album and see what catches on and see what people liked. This was regarded by many as Prince's Beatles album. And Prince said that, you know, the Beatles were fine for what they did, but he wasn't sure that would work in a modern context. And I think whilst there are many different influences on here, this really was thematically a very different album. And I love the psychedelic trippiness, as I said, of songs like Paisley Park, and the video very much encapsulates that. This is otherworldly. This is even the kaleidoscope of different influences and different sounds that he brought to Around the World in a Day. The Total track was amazing with David Coleman and obviously Wendy and Lisa. It's the whole idea that this is a very different kind of album. This is a very out there, alternative, and just really unusual album. So the first thing I'd say for Around the World in a Day is it's different. It's just psychedelic is a word I keep using, but it's, I don't know how else to describe it. It's poppy, it's experimental. It's just, it's got something really different about it. Reason number 2 is God. I mean this in the sense of the songs. Prince has always sung about God and about sex, and that's the duality of the human condition. We have a spiritual side, we have a sexual side, but here I think he created some of the best tracks about God, possibly until maybe Lovesexy. When you think of songs like The Ladder, this like building crescendo of a song where Prince sings about spirituality, he speaks about the human condition, about clasping, grasping, just wanting this idea of climbing the ladder, of finding the reason to life. Nobody knows why we're here. The whole kind of human condition Prince was exploring, and that's one of the things I admire most about Prince. He wasn't afraid to explore, to develop, to change over time, to explore his ideas in public through his art. He wasn't somebody who would just stick to one idea. He was questioning everything all the time, the music business, spirituality, and the meaning of life, and nowhere better does he do that in The Ladder. He also does it in Temptation with this, again, this battle between good and evil, God and the devil, and sex and desire and lust and spirituality, and this tension between them, and at the end the kind of damning summation of God and Prince, and it's just incredible. It was the centerpiece of the Purple Rain tour in the middle, and I think it's a great exploration of the duality of Prince. So I think that would be, for me, number 2. Number 3 is the sheer, I don't know how else to put this, bravery, the sheer balls, if you like, of Condition of the Heart. That intro is an artist who isn't afraid. It's a long, extended, melodic, classical, just almost jazz in the sense of the experimentation of it. The intro to that on a pop album, people didn't do that. They got straight into the song. They didn't build the atmosphere. They didn't create this beautiful, sumptuous, delicate piano and orchestral atmosphere in a song. And Condition of the Heart is simply beautiful. It's poignant, it's heartbreaking. Left him for a real Prince from Arabia. It's just wounding. It's an open song from Prince. It really is. The Condition of the Heart is one of those songs that still to this day can make you weep. And I think Prince has never been more vulnerable, more open, and more just woundingly brave in a song than Condition of the Heart. Reason number 4, the hits. There are many songs on around the world today which became staples of Prince's discography. You think of Raspberry Beret, where, can you imagine Prince without Raspberry Beret, or Pop Life? And I think these songs really became such an important part of Prince's live shows. He would often play Raspberry Beret with Take Me With You. Pop Life became a really regarded classic. And I think when you ask a casual fan or somebody who doesn't know huge amounts about Prince, Raspberry Beret will be one of those songs that comes up. And the kind of cloud-strewn video, which has this kind of almost garish, kind of out there 60s vibe to it, and his cloud suit, the whole kind of cartoon playing in the background, the whole thing. It's like someone sort of, it's like a kind of, it's almost like sort of having a psychedelic, I keep using the word psychedelic, but like a drug experience, I imagine. It's sort of like just an out there left field freedom. It's an art. It's just letting his creative juices take him wherever they want to take him. And I think the fact that it produced those hits, and the fact that he proved that he wasn't just Purple Rain, he was so much more. The 5th reason, the final reason, is social commentary. Prince sung so many poignant lines in songs like America, about minimum wage, about pledging allegiance, about the downside of America, and also Pop Life. And Pop Life, he juxtaposed it obviously with this light music and these dark lyrics about drug addiction and about wanting to be on top and about life. And I think America, again, is a great example of Prince really critiquing a country he loves, but he sees the troubles it has, he sees the problems he has. Now, later on in his career, he was asked about America and he said, it's straightforwardly, patriotic. But you obviously listen to the lyrics and it doesn't sound it, but then maybe some would argue true patriotism is seeing the good in your country and seeing the bad and things that could be improved. And he sung in America, which is also just musically, just a groove. I mean, it's just one of those grooves that the revolution could have ridden for days and days and days. It truly is. It's just a groove. I mean, there's a great version that goes off about 20 minutes and it's just like a juggernaut. But social commentary. So he added that meaning to his work, and America is just a fantastic example of that, about asking why Jimmy won't pledge allegiance, and kind of asking, about the idea of poverty, war, you name it. America is one of those songs in Prince's catalogue, like Dear Mr. Man or Dreamer, where he goes deep, scuba gear deep. Anyway, on to Parade. Now, I've got to make a confession. I, for a long time, didn't necessarily get Parade. I was influenced, I'll be honest with you, by Prince's own words. Now, Prince said Parade was a disaster. He said, apart from Kiss, there's nothing on it I'm particularly proud of. I think half the problem with Parade was that I recorded it too soon after Around the World in a Day, and I didn't just have enough good material ready. I'm never going to make that mistake again. Now, let me say, I think Prince changed his mind, and I did too. And I think, at first I thought, the second half is stronger than the first half. The second half, some powerful, iconic songs. But the more I listened to it over time, it started to affect me more. And I get that with a lot of albums. Over time, they mean more to me. And Parade is considered in the fan community one of the absolute top top ranking Prince albums. So I think Prince changed his mind as well because of the songs he performed later in his career. He performed Sometimes It Snows in April a lot. He performed Mountains, Another Lover, Hole in Your Head, Under the Cherry Moon, Kiss obviously became a huge hit and a huge thing for Prince. So I think Prince changed his mind about that album, as did I. And my 5 reasons are this. 1, Sometimes It Snows in April. Now it's interesting that when Prince passed, Sometimes It Snows in April became one of those songs that really became iconic in the sense of Nothing Compares to You when Prince passed and Sometimes It Snows in April. Obviously, basic tracking happened on the 21st of April 1985, 31 years before Prince transcended. And Sometimes It Snows in April, this delicate, simple, deceptively simple, just mournful, beautiful, powerful track, and Prince sings in a really fulsome baritone and some beautifully deft touches. You can hear the squeaks on the guitar, and Sometimes It Snows in April, obviously very much embedded in the film with Christopher Tracy. It's poignant, it's incredibly moving, and I think it's, again, just Prince had an ability, I believe, more than any other artist in my opinion, to tap into that emotion, to get you to feel things. It wasn't about playing the flashiest solo all the time. It wasn't about, it was about making you feel what he was singing and feel the words and feel the emotions. And that is what I think Sometimes It Snows in April did. 2, this album I think showed incredible maturity. I mean, you think 1986, 1985, 1986 when he was recording it, you think, Prince at that time, not 30, not even 30, he's like 27, 28. And this maturity, this artistry of Under the Cherry Moon, the beautiful horns, you think of the actual track Under the Cherry Moon, and it's just this kind of nod, this waltz, this shows his appreciation of musical history, of the songs that have a deep past, but Prince adds his own twist and brings them into the modern time, and yet it pays homage to this Under the Cherry Moon film, which, although it has lots of modern things and is sort of supposedly set in a more modern world, it has that 30s, 40s, maybe 30s feel, and it shows incredible maturity and musical knowledge. Prince respected the artists that came before him, he studied them like a sponge, and he sucked up so many influences and then put his own twist on it. And I think Under the Cherry Moon, the song, really shows that. Reason number 3, Claire Fisher. Claire Fisher and his orchestral strings and his additions to Prince's work throughout the 80s were sublime. They lifted so many tracks and are so iconic and so beautiful. And I think this is arguably one of Claire Fisher's greatest achievements, the work on this album. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He had a strange sort of relationship with Prince in that Prince didn't want to meet him, didn't want to see his face. He just wanted to, they sent tapes back and forth and they talked about what they kind of wanted, but it just worked. It's one of those things that worked, and Prince didn't want to jinx it. And I think you have people who are on that wavelength, and Claire Fisher said he would sometimes Prince would give him a song and say, can you add strings to this? Sometimes he would just take strings in isolation, and Prince would take some strings that Claire Fisher had recorded and then put them in a completely different song. And Claire Fisher wouldn't know until a disc turns up at his house, like you've sold 50,000, you've sold 100,000, like a gold disc, to say, you're on this record, Prince added those pieces, took them and put them where he best thought. But Claire Fisher's instrumentation on this just lifts this album. Number 4, Mountains. Mountains, I know Kiss gets all the attention on this album. I know that. But I think Mountains, you could argue, is a superior groove. It really is. It's, again, something you can ride for days. Mountains is a perfect pop song. It's something that the Revolution, if I had to pick 5 or 6 Revolution tracks that really symbolise what the Revolution were about, this would be one of them. And Mountains it's just incredible. It just works. It's upbeat. It's lifting. it's just high up there, but it's just a groove, just a perfect groove that looks so effortless, and yet I can't name another artist that could do this. And Mountains for me is arguably one of the best grooves he's ever come up with, and I really think this showed the ability and the best use of the Revolution. I really do. Different bands bring different things, but the Revolution, they could ride a groove. Finally, reason number 5, Venus de Milo and Prince's piano genius. The Under the Cherry Moon project with the film very much was based on Prince as a pianist. He was already playing Christopher Tracy, a gigolo, but he was a great pianist. And Venus de Milo is a great example of that, especially when he played it live as well. But throughout the album, this shows Prince's piano genius. And it's amazing because he was showing it here, he was showing it long before here. But people, even at the very end of Prince's career, when he did the piano and microphone tour, I still had people who didn't really know Prince go, he plays piano? Really? What, he plays piano? It's just going to be him and a piano. People still didn't know. And here he was, back then, playing these beautifully haunting tunes. You know, just this range of different feelings and emotions. You think of Venus de Milo, and you think of some of the orchestral and you know, grooves like, I think of Alexa de Paris as well. This was just incredible, and Prince was bleeding music at this point, as he always did, and his piano skills were brought to the fore on this album, and that's what makes it such a delicate album. I think it's very different to, I would say Parade is different to almost every other album Prince has done. And it's interesting to me how Kiss, in a sense, stands out. And I mean, it stands separately almost from this album. Kiss almost feels like it's from a different album. And that got lots of the attention. But this album is so well thought of in the Prince community, and it is so beautiful. I think beautiful is the word. And it's probably, of the albums that Prince has made, it's the one that's probably taken the longest to grow on me. And yet every year it grows a bit more, And I think, you know, just appreciating that really confirms to me Prince is the gift that keeps on giving. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. The important question as always is, which album do you prefer? Around the World in a Day with its trippy out there vibe, or Parade with its beautiful delicacy? Let me know. Thank you.